Hello and welcome back. This is Penny Sansevieri and Amy Cornell, and this is the Book Marketing Tips and Author Success Podcast. And this show is, we're going to talk about using video in your book promotion. Amy reminded me that a listener actually wrote in and said, hey, can you talk more about how to use video in your book promotion? So Amy, welcome to the show and thank you for this awesome idea.
Yes, thank you. I love when we get listener recommendations because it's so motivating.
Yeah, it really is. And I want to just mention, this is our new review tip. So I always beg for reviews on iTunes, but I want y'all to do something a little bit different. I want you to, in your review, please, if you review, I would like for you to mention something from the show that you listen to that you're going to implement in your marketing. And the reason for that is because it will also help you to remember to do it. So the act of just writing it down, just even that there's just one takeaway, add it to a review and it'll help you to hopefully get it done on your own. And I hope that we have a lot of actionable tips from this podcast so that you can, create some successful marketing. So let's dig in. Amy, I don't need to tell you how much I hate video.
What a great lead-in for this episode.
I just want to say to all of you thinking you have to be on video and you hate it, I feel you. I hate video. And Amy's really, encouraged me. I was trying to find a good word. Encouraged me to put more video out there. Because the thing about video, and Amy has mentioned this to me many, many times, video really personalizes, like you on video, and we'll talk about different video ideas, but you on video really personalizes your book to your audience, right?
Oh yeah. It's that personal connection is huge, and just similar to social media, but again, not everybody is necessarily feeling like a rock star at social media either. But I 100% I'm a return buyer for the authors that I follow closely on social media, who I have a strong connection to just as a person. It's like what they put out there is very real and very honest and very personable. And I 100% return to those authors, and I buy when they release new books, just out of, support and respect for what they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to talk about some video ideas in just a second. But I want to talk a little bit about, setting and lighting. Obviously, natural light is always great. But many of us work in, maybe small office space, or if your office is in the basement and you don't have any kind of light. I just got, and I'll put a link in the show notes to this, I just got this fun ring light off of Amazon. And I'm always looking for something that is like Botox in a box. So like in a ring light to make me look less shadowy and 20 years younger and et cetera, et cetera. So the lighting is really important. The setting is important. I will tell you honestly, I've gotten, backdrops, and I've gotten stuff off of Amazon, and backdrops take up a lot of space, right? But making sure that you have something that is a not too busy backdrop is obviously great. So the setting is important. The length of the video is important. I mean, I usually, if I'm doing a video, and like I said, we're going to talk about some different things that you can do, but if I'm on video and I'm talking, 2 minutes is long, right? So anything that is under 2 minutes, or even a minute even better, is a good length if you are speaking to your readers. And as I said, lighting, we talked about setting and lighting. These ring lights are super inexpensive. You can get them, and you can really kind of jazz up your space. Some of them even have different colors. And, there are, like I've done videos, and you can take a look at some of those videos on my Amazon, my How to Sell Books by the Truckload Amazon book page, because I have those videos up there. But there is there's an app with iPhone that is called clips, and you can record yourself in different cool background settings. So if you're still struggling with your setting, you can be in a laboratory, or you can be in a forest, or you can be all, it's really, really, really cool. So let's talk a little bit about some ideas, Amy. Do you want to run through a couple of them?
Yeah, I think some of the easiest to start incorporating, especially if you're new to video, is kind of your everyday life. And while that might sound kind of creepy, it really is. It's one of those things that it's already there. It's already what you're doing. It doesn't involve a lot of pre-planning or anything like that. You can really just jump in after maybe tidying up your desk or whatever. But show readers what happens behind the scenes in your workspace. You know, do a quick video at your desk. Tell them what you drink, maybe what your favorite drink is, what kind of coffee you like to drink, where you like to write. Kind of give them a little tour as if they're kind of popping in on you, working on your next book, kind of what goes on while you're writing and creating. And I know that sounds, typically I would assume you're like, well, that's not very interesting. But believe it or not, it is really interesting to readers. That kind of stuff, that everyday life sort of topics, are actually very endearing. And again, it creates that psychological connection that makes people more comfortable spending money, buying your book, becoming a return customer, things like that.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the video, the personal connection with your reader and showing the behind the scenes, readers really love that. And it doesn't have to be long or complicated. And in some cases, I've known authors just to do unboxing videos. So videos of them unboxing their first box of their brand new book, which is kind of cool.
Yes, exactly. It's just a little snippet of what goes on in your life, and it's so perfect. And yeah, I agree. Less is actually more when it comes to how long you plan to be on video. So while 30 seconds could probably seem like an eternity, especially until you start getting used to it, I mean, people are busy. So it's better to do something interesting for 30 seconds than it is to sit there and try to plan out 2 or 3 minutes of something to say and to kill time,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. You can also do things like you can answer some, reader questions. And this is a fun thing to do if you have a super fan. So if you have a tribe of readers that's very dedicated to your work and to reviewing your work, you can invite them to submit reader questions and answer them on video, which is kind of fun.
I think that's really fun. And I think you can get inspiration for this from your reviews as well, Penny, either on Amazon or Goodreads. A lot of times thoughtful reviewers will actually bring up something that, and it's not even, doesn't even necessarily have to be anything negative, but they will bring up something that really caught their attention or that made them think a little harder about what was going on or that really stood out to them, and use that as inspiration, as something to speak to in a video and say, hey, I read, somebody reviewed the book recently. I want to thank you, blah, blah, blah. You mentioned this, and I really wanted to speak to that because that really stood out to me, and kind of give a response to what they put in their review. And you've hopefully have lots of content ideas if you start using that as inspiration.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you have so this is fun to do if your team is virtual or if they're, in your neighborhood, is to introduce them. I think that's also kind of a fun thing, especially if you've built up a tribe of readers and they really want to know, more about your cover designer. And, the process of creating a book is a mystery to most readers. The bookstore shows up in their bookstore, it shows up on Amazon, and the creation of that, you don't have to spend a ton of time, but even just a quick introduction. Hey, this is my editor. This is my illustrator. This is my, cover designer, or, your favorite barista at Starbucks, which obviously has nothing to do with your book creation, but it really is just kind of a fun way to the slice of life kind of thing.
Yes, I love that. Again, it's that personal connection. And I realize some people are just shuddering as I say that.
Yeah.
But it really does make a huge difference. And then kind of going back to the reviews, reworking it in a different way. But as you get great reviews, if you get any coverage on blogs or in the media, definitely, it's a wonderful networking opportunity to do a quick video. And not only do you get to brag about that awesome review or about that coverage, you also get to give a shout out to who represented you, the blogger name, the media outlet, the interview that you did, the interviewer, and you get to kind of create that networking opportunity as well. So you get to give them a little love. Your followers then are introduced to the individual that you're thanking. You get to highlight the fact that you have something to brag about. It's really a win-win situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think that we get a little bit too close to, and Amy is always reminding me, because I know I need to do more video, right? She's always reminding me that it's really kind of cool when you can share that piece of yourself that's not too personal, right? But even, when I don't post regular pictures of Cosmo, for example, on Facebook, people are always asking, is your dog okay? Is your dog okay? So if you have a fur family, right? Maybe just like a quick video introducing your cat or your dog or your horse or whatever it is that you've, that is part of your extended family, are just these little kind of ways that readers really love to kind of dig into your world. Amy, do you have any sense from what you've seen out there on social, how much video? I mean, I know TikTok kind of took video to a next. I've never, have you ever done a TikTok?
Oh goodness, no. Listen, now we're gonna have an old person moment here. Where thankfully we don't get contacted by a lot of up and coming teenage superstar authors, because they'd be mortified right now.
Right.
At our lack of coolness.
I know. Yeah, I've never done it. I mean, I think I see them, I think they're really cool, but I've never done a TikTok video. But there are so many portals for video. And I forget now exactly when you talk about statistics, like how many hours of video that people consume. So if you're, I mean, it's a staggering number. So if you want to share, for example, a new release, or if you want to share some big news or something, video is a really, really cool way to do that.
Oh yeah. And this another one, and this is another thing that an author that I actually follow on social media is really good about. And she doesn't actually get any endorsement money for it or anything like that. She does the whole hashtag not an ad, letting people know that she has no skin in the game in regards to, but she's really open about recommending things that she likes, like whether it's where she goes to eat locally, products that she uses, things like that. And she shares that on her social media. And I will tell you that it's worked out brilliantly for her, because she's not only shared part of herself and is making that connection with readers and creating content, but she also is now kind of venturing into that becoming a resource, space as well. Like people are actually going back and keeping an eye on her profile, because she releases videos and recommendations for things that she just loves, and people trust her opinion. And it's really such a smart way for her to go beyond just posting about her books and being an author, to really being a brand and a presence that has other things to say and gives people even more reason to follow her consistently.
Right, exactly. And I think that's really smart, because what she's done is she's expanded that out with, with recommending other products and other books and things like that she loves. One of the things that we haven't talked about yet is the how-to and training videos. Now, we haven't, the Amazon videos, and this was an unintentional plug, but we have the Amazon video series, which is, 40 or so videos on how to optimize your book on Amazon. So that's a different set of, those are those are not necessarily those are videos that we sell access to as a membership. That's not necessarily videos that you would just, put out there for free, although we've put, teaser videos and things like that out. But if you have, I know, when I was living in New York, I knew an Ace Hardware there, and they had a YouTube channel, and they did a whole bunch of fun how-to videos to use their stuff, right? So it wasn't about, taken business away from the local plumber or anything like that. But if you want to replace the guts in your toilet, or if you want to replace, you know what I mean? If you want to just simple stuff like your dishwasher is clogged or whatever. And they created a YouTube channel for this, which I thought was so smart because they became a resource. So if you're listening to this and you have something that can be broken down into a how-to or a training or just a short thing, create a video series for that. And by all means, if you think you can create, an actual series, maybe put it up on YouTube too.
Yeah, that's such a cool idea. And I think that's smart because I think a lot of times when we're talking about all the different opportunities, I think a lot of what we say just naturally probably resonates more with fiction authors just because of the creative element of it. But there's so much out there that really does convert for nonfiction topics as well.
Yeah. And some things, like the Amazon video series that I did, some things just lend themselves better to video because you can do sort of screen shares and that kind of thing. I was talking to another author last week, and she works in Scrivener, which is I need to get into Scrivener. Like I need to figure out how to use it, but she loves it for her book writing. And she's a nonfiction author. And she said she's done videos just showing her process of how she's using Scrivener to give her readers this behind the scenes. Because it's different than throwing all your words in a Word doc, right? Like Scrivener has this whole kind of like mind mapping setup to put together a book. It's extremely cool, but it's unfamiliar to most readers. So while many of the topics may seem to automatically kind of gravitate to fiction, there's a lot of nonfiction, because obviously I'm a nonfiction author, there's a lot of nonfiction translation that you can do as well. One of the things that we haven't talked about is book trailers, and I'm kind of a fan of book trailers. I'm a little on the fence on book trailers just because I haven't seen, I can count probably on one hand in the 20 years I've been in business, how many that I've seen that are really outstanding. Because Amy, book trailers are, I don't know, you see a lot of them because you're a first line of defense when people contact us. You're a quarterback when people contact us about getting in touch with us. And you've seen a lot of videos. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think it's definitely, especially when you consider the cost of book trailers and how much that can vary. I think, similar to a lot of audiobook processes, that's just not something that's in everybody's wheelhouse to be able to afford. And so a lot of these more expensive book trailer, options are just kind of off the table. And so I think you have to be really careful when you're going for the less expensive ones or you're going the DIY route that you really, I think feedback is really important. Like get feedback from people that it's not your mom or your best friend. Sorry, unless your best friend is super honest, then definitely ask them. But,
yeah.
But I think you make a really good point, Penny, that it's one of those things, and we've said it before on episodes, that you don't want to brag about or draw attention to things that you're not super proud of. And we usually say that a lot about not including, if you've abandoned your Facebook page, don't put your Facebook page link on your website. Don't send people there if you haven't posted in a year and a half. Like, you don't want to brag about things that you're not proud of. And I think the book trailer, like that happens with that a lot, to where people throw something together because they think they have to, or they think, yes, this is my key to success. This is going to make me stand out. But it's really easy to miss the mark as well. And then you just end up, getting taken down a couple pegs just for the lack of professionalism in it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a really, delicate dance. And I think you're very right that it's unfortunately, it just is really hard to get a really great book trailer pulled together. Unfortunately, you see a lot more that are not so great, which I think unfortunately also has made the excitement of someone saying they have a book trailer, it's really kind of dampened that a little bit. Because I'll admit, even now when people say, well, I've done a book trailer, like I immediately cringe, which is a terrible reaction. I immediately think, oh, I really hope it's good, for their sake, because once I see it, I can't unsee it, and they're waiting for my feedback on it. You know what I mean? That whole process of, so I think you're right. The book trailers are really awesome element, but I think you need to, more than anything else you do, certainly more than like just selfie videos that you're going to do to connect with your fans. If you're going to do a book trailer, you really have to do it right.
Right, exactly. And, I think that it is book trailers are, they aren't a one and done kind of thing. Like, it's not just, okay, I need to do video for my book, I'm going to do a book trailer. You have so many other options now that are really inexpensive, if not entirely free, and so many different ways that you can dress up your video with the backdrops like I talked about on Clips. You can have some, if you have an iPhone, check out Clips. It is so fun. I discovered it one day and I sent Amy, unfortunately, much to her chagrin, I sent her like, I don't know, 5 little mini videos. I'm like, look, Amy, here I am with sharks. And I'm really quite ridiculous. I'm just so.
It was pretty fun though. I was on board. I was like, hey, if it makes you get excited about getting on video, then let's do it. Let's swim with the sharks.
Oh, it's so funny. But, there are a lot of tools out there to create video. And I think the other thing, and maybe the final thing that we want to leave people with, is if you're going to incorporate video into your book marketing, as with anything that you do, make a plan and do it consistently. And I'm not saying you have to do this every day or even every week, but make sure that if video is going to be a part of what you're doing, part of your marketing plan, find ways to incorporate it consistently in your marketing. I mean, would you agree?
Oh, I think that's brilliant. Yes, because we've definitely touched on some things that would be perfect for at least, even like you said, at minimum a monthly. So whether you answer reader questions monthly, or you give people an update on your publishing schedule monthly, or something that they can look forward to. Once you start getting in the habit of doing that, you will get a lot more engagement when you post the next one, because they'll go, oh, here's their video. They actually start to expect it. And when you follow through, it just takes it through the roof.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I completely agree with that. So I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. We always appreciate, as I mentioned early on, I know I've done the begging for reviews, but I'm going to do it again. We'd love reviews on iTunes or Stitcher or wherever you listen, Audible, wherever you listen to your podcast, and show ideas, because this video idea came from a listener. So we love show ideas. How to contact us is in the show notes, along with some other fun things that we're going to drop in there this time. And we thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.